Hello guys, I have the brand new Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Multi-Purpose Glow Concealer, and I have it in the shade 4.5. I ordered this off of the Armani site where it looks like they have this concealer available, but not all of the shades. So maybe, I don't know, maybe the deliveries are kind of just rolling in. I also haven't seen it at any retailers just yet, but I will link to wherever I find it down below in my description box if you are interested. So I ordered 4.5 because on the site it was described as light with neutral undertones, which, I mean, that's a very general description, but that's usually the description I go for. I'm not quite fair and I'm not quite light medium, and I like to go with neutral because I don't necessarily have like very deep, dark, like purpley, bluish kind of coloring underneath my eyes. I just have more of like, it's more just like kind of like a sallow kind of like discoloration. So let's go ahead and dig right in. So this is the bottle that it comes in. It kind of looks like they're like lip products, and this is frosted. This is all plastic, and I think this was $38. Again, I'll leave everything down below in the description box. Sorry, I can't remember it all. And let's see, I was reading the description on the site when I ordered it, and they were talking about, they were talking about this like precision applicator that it had, and I was like, okay, what does that mean? So it looks like it's asymmetric. So it looks like it sticks out on this side a little bit more. It definitely comes to a point. And it's a little bit thicker than, I would say, like a typical doe foot applicator. So that's very interesting. I kind of like how it sticks out like this. It's a little bit more football shaped on this side, and then this side it's a little bit flatter, almost like a paddle. I don't know if that's going to make much of a difference. I usually just take the applicator, dab, 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 and then I use a different tool to kind of blend out. So I'm not exactly sure how important the shape of this applicator is, but they did kind of talk about it quite a lot on their website in the description. So anyway, it also claims to have like a 24-hour like moisture lock situation. It didn't really say much about like where, like if it's actually supposed to last for 24 hours. None of that means anything to me anyway, because there is absolutely no way I'm going to keep makeup on my face for 24 hours. So I'm not going to be doing a 24-hour wear test today. It is 10 o'clock right now. I'll probably wear this until about 6 o'clock. That's like an 8-hour wear test. I think that's fine. So I do have some interesting things to cover up. I got this really random eczema patch right here. Isn't that lovely? Another one right here. This one was kind of brewing for a while, and then it seemed to look a-okay for a couple days, and then I woke up and it was like, guess what? We're here. So I've got that eczema, and then I have like my regular things that I like to cover up. So what I wanted to do with this concealer, because it does talk about how it's moisturizing and how it's kind of like a multi-use concealer, is I really wanted to use it the way I've been using my Dior Forever Skin Correct concealer. And I've been using this in lieu of foundation. And what I mean by that is that I'm more like spot treating my face versus foundation where I just, you know, smear it all over. So that's what I'm gonna do with this. So I'm gonna start with my eyes. I'm gonna start with my under eyes here. I wanna see how much coverage I get with those 4 strokes. I also want to see if this shade works. Again, this is 4.5, and I'm just going to go ahead and use my finger. I checked their website to see if they had any application tips. They didn't. They kind of just went on and on about the applicator, the actual applicator on here. So I'm just going to use my fingers and see how that does. I think this color works, and I do think this is actually like a true neutral. I feel like whenever I pick something that is either labeled as neutral or looks neutral in the tube, sometimes it just kind of comes off either peachy or yellowy. It just never is like right in the middle, which is great. I feel like the coverage is a little bit less than this Dior. It's definitely less than the Power Stretch concealer from Armani. I've actually decluttered that concealer because I don't know, I feel like it was starting to make my under eyes look a little bit dry, and it just wasn't wearing as well, and I just think it was getting old. So anyway, I decluttered that one. Otherwise, I would probably kind of compare the two, but I'm just gonna do like a full face with this and see what happens. But yeah, the coverage I wanna say is like a medium with this 4 strokes. They did also mention on the website that if you wanted to kind of like build this up, to build it up in layers. So I kind of interpret that as like, don't put down just like a whole glop of it and hope you're gonna get like a full coverage, but use less and use it in layers. I'm just gonna add a little bit more here. I was out late last night, so I need the extra help. I do think this concealer also comes in a lot of shades. I do think the like shade numbering is pretty in line, at least my experience is pretty in line with the Luminous Silk Foundation. I wore, it was either a 4 or 4.5. I would look, but I've already decluttered my Luminous Silk Foundation because it was so old. It was so old. Anyway, it was either a 4 or 4.5. It worked well for my skin tone. So I would have to say that the shades, I think, kind of match up with the foundation. So that's 2 layers. I definitely see more coverage now. And as for the finish, it is definitely luminous. Can you guys see that? I'm trying to get like the light reflected right on it. It is definitely luminous. And in terms of the under eyes, I just think that's great. I think even if you have oily skin, you probably have normal to dry under eyes. Just a guess, I'm definitely generalizing there, but I think this is probably pretty welcome for the under eye area for most of us. Definitely is for me. I also happen to have dry lids, which I know is not actually the case for most people. So I'm gonna just put this on my lids. I have some discoloration there too, and see how that works. But this may not be a lid concealer for some because it is so moisturizing. This definitely has like more radiance to it than the Dior. The Dior is like a little bit more skin-like and natural. And the texture of this concealer is really nice. It's not tacky, and I know tacky concealers tend to have better longevity and things like that, but I don't know, I don't like that on my face. So I like this. This just has like a nice kind of like light creamy texture. It's not, you know, it's not tacky. It doesn't feel especially slippy or anything. It has like a very nice texture. I like it. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I should do in terms of powdering. I think what I'll do, just so we can see, is I'll powder one eye area and then I'll leave the other one unpowdered. I feel like because this is so radiant, it'll be really interesting to see like if it gets more radiant, if it does kind of start to fade a little bit more quickly than the powdered side. Yeah, I'm just really curious like how an unpowdered wear of this will go. Yeah, so there's 1 layer and there's 2 layers. I definitely see a difference. It definitely is very buildable. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit more, even it out. All right, there it is around my eyes. I'm quite happy with it so far. I have very dry skin, so I never ever mind a little bit of radiance. It's definitely not emphasizing texture. I don't see any kind of like weird creasing going on my lids or anything. So far, so good. So I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to put it onto the rest of my face. I don't know if you guys can see, I have all of this like hyperpigmentation here on my cheeks. All those years of not wearing sunscreen. I am gonna use a brush just because this area is so big, and I'm gonna use my BK Beauty 101 brush. Sorry, my shirt is so loud, I'm sorry. Nice, I feel like this is similar to the Dior. Like, it does a nice kind of like evening out. It's not quite as serious as like a foundation. It's a little bit on the lighter side. I like that. I like that for those like no makeup days, which I am definitely embracing more and more these days. I'm gonna add some to my nose area. All right, so this side has the concealer just kind of down here and around my nose versus this side. Yeah, I think it's done a really nice job, like just kind of perfecting and evening things out. No, not perfect. Perfecting is way too strong of a word. Evening things out, making things look a little bit more acceptable. And then you can see very clearly the difference in the redness around my nostrils. Awesome. So I'm curious to see what it's going to do for that friendly spot there. It's so like perfectly round too. Isn't that just, gotta love eczema. It's always just loves to get creative on your skin. And I think for my whole face, I think this is a good match. It's a little bit light for my forehead skin. My forehead is considerably tanner than the rest of my face. So I just have to make sure I blend this out really, really well. And that spot is pretty red, but I'm okay with that. It's, you know, made it a little bit lighter. It's not completely camouflaged. So there it is, applied all over. I am really happy with it. It is much more radiant than this. I'm just gonna say right off the bat that if you have like an oilier skin type, I would go with the Dior. But if you have drier skin type and you don't mind a little bit of glow, this may be your friend. So let's go ahead and just powder one eye. I am going to use, let's see, I'm going to use my Kogendo Natural Lighting Powder. It's a loose powder that I really, really enjoy. It has a very soft finish. It's not matte, but it's not, I don't know, maybe it's like just a very dull kind of like satin finish. And I just think it's so lovely. It just really looks beautiful on the skin. So I'm going to go ahead and use the BK Beauty 102 brush. And just apply some. So this is my right side. So my right eye is powdered. I'm sorry. I'm saying that more for me than you. You're probably like, yeah, we know. All right, so powdered, unpowdered, and obviously the unpowdered side definitely looks a lot more radiant. So we'll see how this wears over the day. I am going to finish up my makeup. I've got to run to the strip now. And like I mentioned, I started all of this at about 10 o'clock this morning. And yeah, so I will see you guys in just a bit. All right, the things we do for YouTube. I'm standing out on my back patio. Just wanted to do a quick check-in of what was going on under my eyes. This is the side that I powdered. This is the side that I didn't. I don't have any eye makeup on. No mascara, no eyeshadow, no nothing. I think this side still looks pretty good. I still see coverage. I think it looks nice. It actually feels nice, like it feels moisturized. This side with the powder, I feel like the concealer like just ate up the powder and just like sunk right into this huge line that I didn't even know I had. Did you guys see that? So I don't really like the powdered side, but this side looks nice. Again, I have very dry skin. I feel like it's faded a little bit here, like just along my lash line, but I mean, I think that's kind of normal. But other than that, I still feel like it looks good, like on my skin and everything. So pretty happy with it. Oh, I didn't even tell you what time it is. It's about 3 o'clock. It's really, really gray and rainy here. So this is the best daylight I could give you guys. All right, I'll be back in just a couple hours to give you my final check-in. Hey guys, little costume change here. I had to get cozy. Now that I'm home, I really like this concealer. I was just inspecting my eyes, and the side that I don't have any powder on, it looks really beautiful. I'm just gonna zoom into like the eye area right now. I feel like my under eye looks really, really smooth. I think it looks really beautiful. The one issue that I guess you could say I have with this concealer is that I feel like when I powdered, it just made my under eyes look really kind of dry. And I don't know what that's about, because when I use this loose powder, the Kogendo powder that I used, it never makes my skin look dry. And this is a very radiant kind of concealer. So I'm not sure if it was just sort of that combo, but it really just kind of like sunk into this one giant line that I didn't even know existed. And it just looks a little, again, I hope zooming in helps, but it just looks a little like dry, like right here. And I didn't powder the rest of my face, so I do feel like I see just a little, just like the slightest bit of fading, like around my nostrils, like right around here. It looks a little bit more red than, you know, when I applied it this morning, but it's not bad. Like, it's not completely gone at all, but it doesn't look like it's broken up or done anything odd. It just looks like it's faded there a little bit, and I'm okay with that. As you guys saw this morning when I first applied it, I pretty much just put it here, and that's all still there. Like, it's not, again, it was never really like heavy coverage, so you could see my skin through there still, which is great. And then that little red dot up here, my little eczema friend, if you guys remember again from the initial application, it didn't cover it up completely, but it definitely kind of like minimized its appearance a little bit. And I feel like it's still kind of minimized. So I'm happy. I was really kind of worried because it was so radiant. I thought there was a very high possibility that it was just gonna kind of like melt off of my face, but it didn't. But it hasn't gotten more oily looking or anything, and the radiance hasn't like shifted it or creased, or it hasn't done anything odd. I think it looks really, really fantastic. I'm just a little bit sad about this whole powder area, but as I'm getting into this like no makeup kind of look that this Dior corrector has really kind of like brought on in my makeup routine, and I'm just really, really loving it. I like the idea of having like kind of like a more radiant version of it, and one that I kind of don't need to powder. I think that's very, very exciting. But I really like this. I think this is a really nice complement to have next to this Dior that I've been using so much, you know, to kind of have like a more radiant option. I think is really, really nice. So those are my thoughts after this 8-hour wear test. I am definitely going to be playing around with this a little bit more. I have been playing around with like the Sisley Phyto Hydra Tint a little bit more. I've been playing around more with the Surratt primer, and I'm definitely going to be doing kind of like a monthly roundup of all the new stuff that I've been playing around with, because I do have like additional thoughts on all of these new things that I've been playing with. So anyway, please subscribe if you are interested in that content, but definitely let me know your thoughts about this concealer. Would love to hear what you're thinking, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'll see you in my next video.